After 5 years of living on foot in the city, my wife and I got a car last year and had a ton of fun going on road trips around Oregon. Well, this year we are doing the same, again, gearing up for some road trips this year, and this is what I'm going to be bringing. I'm usually a little bit more lenient when I'm packing for a road trip because I don't have to lug everything around with me, and it also means I get to use duffel bags, which I don't really love for plane travel, but absolutely love for road trips over backpacks and traditional suitcases. Before we talk about what's inside though, I want to do a quick overview of the duffel bag itself. This was something I received last summer as a review unit, and it unfortunately fell through the cracks of my production schedule, but it is amazing and I really wanted to take some time with it to show everyone here. The brand is called Stewart & Lau. This is the Tabby Tomo duffel. It's 50 liter capacity. This outer fabric has a really nice durable but premium feel. It's called Duralite fabric. The bottom here is a really nice weatherproof rubber bottom. The inside actually has a really nice soft recycled twill. The stitching was one of the first things I noticed, and looking at some of the feature sets online, it's called Kintsugi stitching. Stewart & Lau is not sponsoring this video or anything. It is just a truly impressive level of quality and design that went into this bag, and I wanted to make sure it had its proper time in this video. Without any further ado though, I'm going to unload this and we're going to talk about everything else I'm bringing. All right, so I've got everything laid out. Starting off with my clothes, we are just gonna be doing a long weekend trip because we have a very needy cat. We can't really go for a lot of extended trips very often. So yeah, this is just gonna be a couple nights, long weekend sort of trip. The packing cubes I'm using, I have the Trip Travel Gear packing cube as well as a small size pack packing cube that we'll get into in just a second. For socks and underwear, I have the Ex Officio Give and Go boxer briefs. Really nice, small, compact, quick drying. They have some odor reducing properties. I've been really happy with these the past couple of years I've been using them. For socks, I just have some darn tough merino wool socks. Again, you're able to rewear these without any sort of smell or stink, and it actually helps them last a bit longer if you don't wash them after every wear as well. For the rest of my clothes, I'm just bringing a couple of t-shirts as well as an outfit for sleeping. I have my Outlier merino t-shirt. I've had this for I think 3, maybe even 4 years at this point. It is my favorite t-shirt hands down. Nice heavy duty merino wool, super soft, super comfortable, great for travel. Some new shirts I got several months ago as a company called Cedon reached out and offered to send me a few things. This is their Daymaker tee, and I've really grown to love this. It's a really nice, super thin, super soft fabric. It's blended with Tencel, which is a fabric made with eucalyptus, and they actually have a lot of really great odor reducing properties in this shirt. It's not a merino wool shirt, but I did a test wearing this at home to a gross extent, to be honest. I wore it for a week straight and it didn't even slightly smell. I definitely upset my wife a bit doing that test, but it really proved how well the odor resistance works in these. They even have special merino travel tees, but I just picked up the Daymakers and have been very happy with them. So I'm bringing the Outlier t-shirt, 2 of those, and just some basic gym sleep shorts. That's it for all of the regular packing cube clothes. In addition to that, I am bringing a jacket. This is another new item of mine. It's the Filson Ultralight Hooded Jacket. Filson reached out and offered to send me a few things to test and try a while back, so I have been doing so and absolutely loving it. Been a huge fan of Filson for many, many years, so I was flattered and so happy that they wanted to work with me on some things. But this is a synthetic packable jacket. What I like about this compared to a lot of really lightweight jackets that are meant for like backpacking or travel, to save weight, they really use very fragile fabrics. Filson is kind of known for their heavy duty quality, so even their ultralight stuff is going to be, a little bit heftier and sturdier than a lot of like ultralight materials that are used in a lot of like outdoor type of gear. So this is something I'm not going to be like really worried about damaging, like my Ghost Whisperer jacket that's just like super thin and fragile. It's a Primaloft insulation, so it actually will keep its insulation if it gets wet. And it does have a DWR coating, I believe. It's not advertised on their website, but I've taken this thing out in rain and it'll hold up for a good hour in light rain before it starts to wet out. So it's not designed to be a waterproof jacket, but under light rain, essentially is waterproof to an extent. But yeah, I've been really happy with this. It's been my like daily city jacket through the spring. Next up, we have my travel water bottle of choice, and that is the Lark Bottle Movement. I've had this for about a year now, and it has performed admirably. 1 liter size, and it actually has a built-in UV purification system in the cap. So if you travel around with a lot of questionable water sources, you can actually fill this thing up and purify the water, so you're going to be a little bit safer and more comfortable drinking any questionable water. I don't do a ton of international travel myself where this would really come in handy, but I do a lot of like backcountry traveling and exploring and backpacking and stuff. So like day hikes and different things like that, it comes in handy if you do need some extra water, and you can fill up and make sure that you're not going to get sick from the water you're drinking. Also, beautiful, compact, just a really nice design, great company as well. They're a 1% for the Planet member, which I love. Next up, we have a little bit of an extra splurge type of item. This is the Gravel Travel Layover Blanket. The folks at Gravel reached out and offered to send me a few things to test and try. It really is designed for flight travel, but with road tripping, I usually throw in a few extras I wouldn't normally do on my like ultralight plane traveling. But this thing is really cool. You know, it's not just a standard blanket. It is a synthetic blanket, but it's still pretty packable. It actually has little holes to put in your feet. So, you know, if you're on a long road trip in the car, this would be really great in addition to the intended plane travel use. But just a fun little blanket to have as an extra, you know, use it out as a picnic blanket, use it to stay warm in the car. My wife's usually cold and I'm usually hot, so she can use this while I'm driving. I haven't taken this out on a proper trip yet, so I don't have like a full review of thoughts to share, but as I try this, I'll be sure to update everyone with my thoughts. Next up is my Dopp kit or Toiletry Kit. I did a video on this recently, more in depth, so be sure to check that video if you're interested. I did make a couple of updates though, mainly in the Dopp kit itself. This was another item from Gravel Travel that I'm testing and trying. It's their Explorer Slim toiletry bag. Initial impressions are great. I really love the face fabric that they use on this, and you really just have quite a few bells and whistles. Being fully honest, it is a little over organized for what I would normally need, but I know I have a really minimalist Dopp kit compared to a ton of people. You do have a little pouch with a hook, so if you do want to hang this thing up, it's great. You can hang it in the bathroom and have everything laid out. It's not something I normally do, but I know a lot of people really love that. I have a nice fleece line compartment in here as well. But getting into it, my favorite feature of this upon initial trying, they have a little waterproof area to put your toothbrush. So you don't need to worry about your toothbrush scumming up the rest of your bag, which is great. So you have a little nice, perfectly fitted zipper pouch for that. But otherwise, you just have a few organization options. And like I said, go to that toiletry bag video if you want to see everything else I'm carrying in here. But initial impressions on the Explorer Slim are great. Looking forward to putting it through a proper test on this trip. A few more things kind of in the clothes category. With our road tripping around Oregon usually involves quite a bit of day hiking. So I'm bringing a separate packing cube with my hiking outfit. Not too much to go over here, but I have the Prana Stretch Zion straight pants as well as the Outdoor Research Echo Sun hoodie. That's my hiking outfit for this year, and it has been incredible so far. In addition to that, I have this little Dyneema first aid kit that I normally bring backpacking. Just always a good idea to bring this if you're going into any more serious day hikes as well. So I threw this in here just to throw into my sling bag when I'm out on the trail. You never know when you might need it, and you definitely don't want to be out there and need it and not have it. Lastly, for the hiking outfit, I am trying some new trail shoes. These are the Zero Terraflex 2. During my last hiking outfit video, a few people had recommended that I try some Zeros. I reached out and asked if they send over a pair to review. They gladly accepted. These are new for me. I only have about 10 miles on them so far. I'm relatively familiar with more minimalist shoes. I generally hike in ultras. You know, I have several hundred miles on my Lone Peak 5s that I got last fall. Initial impressions on these are great though. Looking forward to taking them out on some more serious hikes during this trip. For coffee, I'm bringing the AeroPress Go, definitely a huge favorite of mine for the quality of coffee versus the price and the size within your bag. I've been a big AeroPress fan and user for over a decade now, I think, and picked up the AeroPress Go for like camping and travel and more outdoor type of stuff, and absolutely love it. Just everything I love about the AeroPress in a little bit more of a compact package. Excellent. I did a whole video about travel coffee kits as well sometime last year if you want to learn more about all of the options that I use. For tech, I'm going pretty light with the exception of one thing that we're going to get to next. This is the Air Split Kit. Just a nice little pouch because I wasn't bringing too much. I didn't want to get too involved into everything. I have a couple of charging cables that I'm bringing as well as the Anchor. It's the PowerCore Slim, the 40 watt 2-port version. Really love that thing. And the Nightcore NB 10,000 battery, super lightweight, small, 10,000 milliamps. Very happy and impressed with that. So that's really all I need in the way of my normal tech. Keep in mind, I don't have it on the table here, but I'm also bringing my normal like EDC carry sling. Currently, I'm using the Air Day Sling Max 3. Be sure to check last week's video if you want to see everything that's in here. I'm trying to make sure this video isn't like a full hour long, and I know I've made separate videos about a few of these things. So check that out from last week if you want to see what my EDC setup is currently. Next up, we have a bit of a special item and the sponsor of today's video, and that is BenQ and the GV30 portable projector. BenQ reached out about a month ago and asked if they could sponsor a video and send out the GV30 for me to test and try, and after checking it out online, I happily accepted. This thing is really cool. It is a portable projector that runs completely on battery power and wireless if you want it to. It basically looks like a big Bluetooth speaker, and I think a big reason for that is because this thing is mostly speaker. It's a 2.1 channel system and it really sounds great. Really was so impressed with the sound quality. I've been using it all around my house for weeks now and definitely don't feel left out compared to using my normal TV soundbar. But you have plenty of headroom in the speakers here in terms of volume, and the quality is just so much better than you'd expect from such a small projector. It's a 720p 60Hz projector, which, being honest, was my main concern before receiving it. But after using it for the last few weeks and realizing what it's actually used for, I have not found it to be even a slight problem. I'm someone that is just the higher the bitrate, the better. As much 4K stuff, the better. That stuff's all really important to me, and the 720p in this hasn't bothered me in the slightest. It's meant to be portable. You're going to take it outside when you're barbecuing, and starting to get dark. You throw on a movie with your friends, take it traveling, you take it camping if you have little kids. In the application that it's designed for, I think it performs excellent in terms of image quality. It's 300 nits of brightness. I found that to be perfectly fine in low to medium light scenarios in some like really bright rooms or outdoors during the daytime. This isn't really going to be able to compete with the sun, but even in surprisingly like medium daylight indoors with all my windows open, it's held up perfectly well. They even have a daylight setting that kind of pumps up the brightness a bit as well, so that's a great way to offset some of that excess brightness. You can really throw this up on all kinds of surfaces. I have been using it every night in bed, throwing it onto the ceiling above my wife and I. We've been on a big Parks and Rec binge lately, so I have this giant 100-inch screen above me to be able to lay down and relax and watch Parks and Rec in beautiful glory on my ceiling. A few quick details to explain the ease of setup as well. The stand is actually magnetic, so it allows you to kind of twist and roll so you can throw it onto any sort of surface or angle that you need. It's 135 degrees of rotation. That's been plenty for me. It also has built-in autofocus and auto keystoning, so it's going to adjust the image quality. If you're throwing at an angle onto a surface, it's going to adjust it so it looks normal automatically. It's performed perfectly on both of those fronts for me. I haven't had to do any manual adjusting to the focus or the keystone since I've had it. The battery's lasted about 2 hours for me, which is a little bit shorter than ideal, but more than enough for most movies. Just not going to be running, extended Lord of the Rings trilogy on here without plugging it in. Luckily though, it does come with a really nice plug that has quite a bit of length. The GV30 has a built-in Android TV dongle, so you're able to access all of the streaming services just as standalone apps within the device itself. Netflix is the only exception to that. It doesn't work by default, but there is a pretty easy workaround. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to see the instructions for that. I'm generally using Plex and YouTube as my two main streaming apps. Both have performed perfectly over the past several weeks. In addition to the apps, you are still able to cast things directly from your phone. If you have an Android phone, it's definitely integrated with Android TV, but even for iPhone users, you are still able to AirPlay to the projector as a secondary screen. All in all, this has just been a really fun device to have around testing and trying the past few weeks. My wife and I have been loving it. Watching TV on the ceiling in bed is really fun, and taking it out and traveling with it is going to be great as well. So I'm excited to use it on this trip for that. Huge thanks to BenQ for sponsoring today's video and for sending this out to me. And this is going to wrap it up for the loadout. I'd love to hear if you have any trips coming up that you're excited for. What's your most anticipated trip of 2022? Leave it down in the comments for me below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.